Hi to all you beautiful souls out there. Thanks for stopping by my channel, Spiritual Dowsy. I'm Dowsy LeMay. Big shout out and thanks to all my subscribers and people who've been following my videos, liking them and commenting them. Thank you really so much for all your love and support as I continue here on my journey. I really appreciate it. Also, for anybody who really likes the content that you're seeing here on my YouTube, head on over to my Facebook or my Instagram. I put a lot of different content out there, and perhaps you may resonate with that as well and like it. So today I want to talk about dreams and how dreams can sometimes be called astral travel experiences, and how in those astral travel experiences you could actually be having communication with your spirit guides and your spirit team or other interdimensional beings or even your higher self, and how you should start being aware of that. And also just give you a couple tips on how to start becoming more in tune or opening your awareness to that, to make sure that you remember those times a lot easier when you come back into your physical body. So before I do this, understand that these are my truths and my experiences. They don't have to be yours. Use your own discernment, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Okay, so let's talk about dreams and the science about the dream state and the dreaming and the sleeping thing, right? So, you know, in the conscious level, we are existing on the brain wavelength of beta. That's you being aware, thinking, consciously understanding where you are in your reality, and you're awake. Beta. As you lay down in your bed, you start to relax, you move into alpha. That is the relaxed state of being. Your brain wavelength is in alpha, and then you start to fall asleep and you move into REM or REM or rapid eye movement, and then you move into the 4 stages of sleep, right? So REM all the way down to like the 3rd stage of sleep, the deeper stage of sleep, I think is the theta wave, brain wavelength, and then the 4th stage of sleep is like the deep delta brain wavelength, right? That's the science behind it, and they're saying, oh, you are existing in your body and you're just dreaming about the previous day and you're just creating stuff in your brain, right? I agree. There are some levels of that. But my perspective is that there is an actual piece where you actually separate from your body somewhere in the theta range, in the deeper parts of that theta range, or even a little bit of the shallow part. You're moving out of your body into something called the astral body and into the astral realm. All right? What is that? Your astral body is much akin to your 3rd dimensional body, but it just vibrates at a much higher rate of speed. It vibrates much higher, much higher, and it is something that is like an energetic body that retains your consciousness. It retains everything that is about you. You're just not tied to the physical 3rd dimensional world. It's an astral body that is a lot more energetic, a lot more fluid, a lot more malleable, and then you move into something called the astral realm. The astral realm is akin to the 3rd dimensional world. So you have 3D, right? Earth in your physical body, and your world that you live in is 3D. And the 4th dimension, which is a higher vibrational reality, is imprinted over the 3rd dimensional body or the 3rd dimensional world, and it exists. It just, you can't see it. It's there. It vibrates at a higher rate of speed, and it's basically imprinted on top of the 3rd dimension. So it's the space on top of the space, or the space within the space. It is your ability to go into another reality in your astral body and to exist into the astral realm, which is a higher vibrational parallel universe, if you will, or not an actual universe. It's just a higher dimension beyond just the physical 3rd dimension, right? At some point, you leave your 3rd body, you leave your 3rd density body, you move into the astral body, and you have astral realm experiences. And in those astral realm experiences, the reason why I'm making this video is that you actually could be having spiritual conversation, communication with your spirit guides, with other spirits, with other soul family spirits, with other interdimensional beings, or even your higher self, right? And I'm bringing this up to you because there's a big difference. I'm bringing this up to you because I get a lot of profound messages and information and things to help me understand more about myself or to get guidance. And I think the dream state or your astral travel remembering your astral travel experience could be really beneficial for you as you move along in your spiritual path, as well as trying to find more balance and love for yourself, right? So here's the question. How do you know when you're not in your dream state versus when you're in your astral travel and you are experiencing in your astral body and communicating with your spirit guides? Well, first thing, the biggest indication to me is that your dreams when you're in your body don't feel like you're just going through your previous day. You're just going through the stuff, you're running through the motions. It's just like you're going, like you're like chalking through the stuff, like you're just going through files and you're like, all right, I remember that. And you're going through some stuff like that. A big indication for when you're in your astral body and you've been traveling in the astral realm is that you remember the dream very vividly. It feels so real to you, right? It feels like you were there. It feels like you recall, like, I felt like I was on a different planet. I felt like I was actually there. It was so vivid. I remember the smells. I remember what it felt like. I remember what they were dressed like. I remember the whole thing. And it felt completely different than what I would normally feel when I was in a dreaming state. It feels very real to you. That's a huge indication that you were in the astral realm and you were having communication and contact with the astral realm, or you're having communication with your guides. Now, when you're having communication with your guides and you would think back in your dreams in these moments where you were like, oh yeah, I remember that dream being very vivid, but what was the message? How do I know if there was a message? I will say this, there are two things you need to understand when you're communicating with your spirit guide in the astral realm. And the reason why they communicate with you in the astral realm, your spirit team, understand that, is that it's very difficult to communicate with you when you're in the third dimensional world. You're going about your day, you're tied and you're focusing on the third dimensional stuff. It's very difficult for your spirit team and your guidance and your higher self and interdimensional beings to communicate with you in a linear standpoint when you are totally not able to connect with them. In most cases, a lot of people get guidance when they meditate, right? When you meditate in the third dimensional and you are aware. You're in the theta brain wavelength, and that's usually associated with the dream state, right? So when you're in your theta when you're in your third dimensional existence, the theta or meditative state is where you get to communicate that. And so when you go to your dream state and you exit your body and you go into the astral realm is a much higher vibration. It's a lot easier for spirits guides to communicate with you. And so I just want to open you up to understand that you could be communicating with them. So how do your spirit guides communicate to you in the dream state or in the astral realm? Well, they do not communicate to you like we are communicating here. Me communicating through my camera, so you're hearing this on YouTube. They don't communicate through you in the very linear, human-created language, right? Verbal communication, one-to-one, me expressing this out for your intention, for you to hear it in your ear, and to interpret that, and then to have it filtered through your own system, and to have your own understanding. They don't communicate that way. Spirits, your higher self, your guidance, all that stuff, they are multidimensional. They do not communicate on a very linear third dimensional. They communicate in a more complex, more encompassing, energetic version or communication to get messages to you, right? And so that communication would look a lot more like a hologram, putting you into a hologram, right? Putting you into an experience of which you are playing out like a movie, where you're like playing the role of a character within a movie, and they're giving you an experience for you to understand something about yourself or to get a message through, right? Or they're going to communicate through you via metaphor. And sometimes they communicate through maybe verbally, right? They may say something to you like a message, but usually that doesn't happen unless you're really like clairaudient, right? They may say something to you, but it may be in like a metaphor. But they'll also give you visuals that are also metaphors, but they also like to communicate via feelings. Feelings and energy is one of the best ways for these guys, for spirit to communicate with you, because it is multidimensional. It transcends both time and space. Feelings and energy is one of the best ways for them to communicate for you. Another thing about understanding about communication for spirit and for your spirit team is that it is very, very specific for you, right? Your spirit, your guides know how you vibrate. They understand what you're going through. They communicate specifically in a way for you to be able to understand. So what you get from something may not be the same thing that someone else gets, right? So you may go out and get a book and say, how do I interpret my dreams? Those things that are being presented in those books are very broad, very, very broad for the general public. And your spirit guides and the people who are communicating to you have an understanding that you have a certain vibration, you have certain filters and understanding about who you are, and they're trying to deliver a energetic, holographic message to you that only you can be able to interpret through your own filtering energetic system. So what you get from them is something specific, and it won't be able to transfer over to somebody else if you give them the same image. They just won't be able to get the same message. So understand that your spirit guides are giving you a lot of different versions of communications that could be coming through an experience, through something they create an experience for you to go through, a holographic imagery of that, visualizations and metaphor, but most cases through visualizations of metaphors and imagery, as well as feelings and energetics and knowing about that. So open yourself up to understand that if you're having a dream and you wake up and you say, oh man, that seemed very, very real. That seemed like it was the most out of world, but it felt so vivid, it felt so real, and I felt like I was conversation with people, etc. That is most likely you being in the astral world, astral realm, having experiences with spiritual, multidimensional beings, and they were likely communicating with you, delivering a message for you to understand something about yourself, okay? And that message is very specific to you. It's not going to transfer over to somebody else. It's for you to be able to digest, to run through your system, and to understand what they were trying to get to you, right? So keep that in mind when you're thinking about dreams and trying to understand your dreams. Also, keep in mind, reoccurring dreams are typically a message trying to be delivered to you via your team or via your higher self, right? Your team, your spiritual team and your higher self aren't going to actually come out and tell you what you need to know, because you have something called free will, right? You have something called free will, and they have a way of communicating that isn't very linear and verbal. You have free will. They don't want to interfere with your free will. So they're only going to give you certain things to give you insight into, to determine whether or not that's something you want to take on via your own free will. So they're going to give you these repetitive dreams potentially for you to interpret to see whether or not you're going to take on that message, right? So I had a lot of reoccurring dreams. A lot of these reoccurring dreams had to do with time. It was me experiencing one thing, going somewhere else, and then coming back and feeling like I had lost like 20 years. And through that experience, as I was communicating with other energies within my dream, I was expressing regret. I was feeling sad. I was feeling sorry, and all those kind of things. And it took me until sitting down with myself and trying to understand these dreams, and what the message was that I was going through my feelings. Was one of the best ways for me to interpret this dream, was that they're trying to tell me that if I don't act on my passions and the things that I like doing now, I'm going to regret it. I'm going to regret not taking the time now to develop that, and I'm going to end up having a lot harder time and feeling like I missed a lot of time and I could have been doing that now. So these are the kind of things I'm trying to bring your awareness to, because you're having dreams, and those dreams could be astral travel, and those astral travel experiences could be created by your spiritual team for you to experience a feeling or a sensation so that you could get guidance about you and your life as you go forward, right? So I hope that helps you. I want to give you a couple tips that helps you perhaps open up and understand how to get more out of your dreams if you really are intended to remember your dreams or intending to remember your astral travels. The first thing is intention. Go to bed with the intention of you remembering your dreams. The thing I like to say to myself all the time before I go to bed is that my intention, I put it out into the universe, I put it out to my higher self, and I say, my intention is to remember my dreams, to remember my astral travel. I ask that my higher consciousness and the experiences that I have in my higher consciousness come to me in my physical body, and that I remember my experiences, right? And if I don't remember all of it, I ask that I remember the most important things that I need to remember. So put your intention out there. Put your intention to say, I want to remember my dreams. I want to remember my messages that are being brought to me. If I don't remember everything, I just want to remember the most important things. The more you start to do that, the more you put your intention into it, the more you're going to open that up and to restart remembering your dreams. The other part of this, have a dream journal. It's so important for you to have a dream journal. Have your dreams, and the minute you wake up, write them down. Write them down, what you remember, what you saw, what you experienced, what you felt, what the imagery were, what the colors, all of that, because the more you put your intention into it, the more you write about it, the more you put your intention to remember your dreams, the more the bandwidth it's going to allow you to be able to remember it, right? Because when you move into the astral realm, which is very high vibration, right? It's very high vibration compared to your third dimensional body. When you come crashing back into your physical body, all that high energetics becomes very hard for your physical body to integrate, to keep it collected and to have it make sense for you. The bandwidth before you start doing this is very small. The more you put your intention into remembering, and the more you write about the experiences, and the more you recall it, the bigger the bandwidth is going to be for you to recall what you had in the astral realm and having it brought back in your physical body. It makes it that much more profound, and you can get your messages a lot more clearer and a lot more stronger, and you can remember those experiences a lot better. So I hope that helps you. I hope you understand that in your dreams, sometimes they're not dreams, they're actually astral traveling, and you are communicating with your spiritual guide. I just want to open you up to that, because you could be getting spiritual messages. You're just not aware of it because they're not communicating the way that we are used to communicating. They're communicating through thought forms, holographic experiences, through imagery, through metaphors, through energy and knowing and feeling. And if you want to spend more time understanding that, and understand that these are specific messages for you and not for anybody else, put your intention out there into the universe that you want to start remembering them, and then keep a dream journal. Keep a dream journal, write down everything, because all that's going to allow you to do is open up the bandwidth between your physical body and your astral realm body, and you're going to be able to recall a lot more as you go along. So I hope that helps you. I hope you get a lot of profound messages in your dreams. I get a ton, and I love getting them, and maybe this will open you up and feeling a lot more connected and connecting with you and your spirit guides. I love you. Wherever you are in the world, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.